I'm not a genius. Writing is typically treated as a hobby for the intelligent, for those who spend all day nose deep in a dictionary and who are constantly twisting words and phrases in a masterful dance of complex fiction and hypnotizing wordage. This is an impression that is obviously false, and yet it's the impression that I had when I began my writing journey. As a sophomore who was still exploring his passions, writing has always had this mystique to me. It felt satisfying to write things, but reading them back always made me feel sick to my stomach, because at the time, I didn't know what good writing looked like. All I had were my assumptions of what I thought good writing was, what good writers focused on, things that no amount of reading could express to me because these assumptions went much deeper than the words on the page. Of course, it's been a good few years since then, and I've improved in a lot of aspects. My diction, my pacing, my knowledge. But there's one thing that hasn't really changed. Something that feels different, but on a base level is almost identical to how it was when I was 15. The kinds of stories I want to tell. This has remained a constant in my writing career, and at this point, it's something that I never really want to change, even through all of my improvements. So when I found a story that harnessed all of the best aspects of my own writing and seemed to multiply them by 10, I couldn't look away, no matter how hard I tried. This story about stupid teenagers punching each other in the face spoke to me in a way that very few stories ever could, and it's because of this that I want to continue improving as a writer and a content creator. But of course, I'd be doing you all a disservice if I didn't at least talk about it with you. So without further ado, sit down, grab a drink, and let's talk about what you can learn from Windbreaker. Windbreaker, written and illustrated by Satoru Nii, is a very interesting show from a writing perspective. Most stories generally have some elements that set them apart from other narratives upon first glance. A power system here, a character design there, but Windbreaker, to many people, just didn't seem all that different from the usual delinquent anime. Following the story of Sakura Haruka, Windbreaker covers the battles and exploits of the Bofureen gang, otherwise known as Windbreakers, who specialize in protecting their turf from rival gangs and being the heroes of their small town. Sakura, being a new student, isn't interested in any of these things, just looking for a good fight with anybody who's willing to take him on. But before long, he unwittingly gets roped into the fights of Bofureen, and his journey as a Windbreaker truly begins. This is pretty normal delinquent fare. A new student goes to a school full of tough guys and gets into a bunch of fights. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. But where Windbreaker sets itself apart is in the theme of selflessness that looms over the entire narrative. Very rarely is a fight in Windbreaker started just for the fun of it, but instead it's usually a matter of fighting for or over others. This gives every fight an interesting dynamic. There's always something to be lost and gained in each encounter, and so the violence never feels senseless, while also always giving the audience a good idea of who they want to root for in any given engagement. The theme of selflessness doesn't just apply to the fights of the series, however. It's also expressed through the actions of the characters outside of the various battles. Sakura and his friends do what is essentially community service in between the major arcs of the series, fixing buildings, helping old ladies find their cats, shit like that. And even though these interactions don't ever last too long, it's always a breath of fresh air, reminding you that the main cast isn't just here for fighting, but instead to be a positive force in their community. It's primarily due to this kindness and almost soft approach to the world of delinquents that Windbreaker has actually managed to garner a primarily female audience, which is rare for a shonen series. The violence in stories like Windbreaker usually doesn't catch the eye of many female readers, and in spite of everything I just listed, the majority of Windbreaker is fighting. So how is it able to cultivate an audience like this? Well, the answer to that is simple. Cute boy. No, not that. The real answer is compassion. A narrative that has no love is a narrative that can't be loved. Plain and simple. Stepping away from Windbreaker for a moment, think about the most depraved, loveless narrative in the world. Something like Berserk would suffice, and even in that series, love is present. It's what Guts is fighting for the entire time. To be with Casca, someone he loves. The hatred that is felt throughout the entire series is a force more than anything. It's the nature of the world fighting against the happy ending that we want to see for our protagonist. And because of this, the kinder moments in the series, the arcs where the characters are allowed to breathe and enjoy one another's company, are a reprieve from all of the depression of the main plot. Windbreaker operates on this principle in the reverse. For lack of better words, it's like Berserk but for nihilists. Many of the villains in Windbreaker are treated as such because they don't align with the series' perspectives regarding positivity. Some villains in the series have really good reasons for being evil, and others, Yeah, but those that can be redeemed often are, and welcomed with open arms even if they themselves don't believe they are worthy of forgiveness. And the reason this works so well is because of the main language of Windbreaker, the bow on top of this positivity pie: violence. And I'm not joking. One of the biggest reasons I love Windbreaker is because it echoes a sentiment that I've always written with, even back when I started writing for the first time. Fighting is a form of conversation. You can learn a lot about a person from trading blows with them, and through fighting on equal terms, win or lose, you're bound to gain some respect for the people you face off against. Windbreaker embodies this ideology in every pore of every arc. Even if we're just focusing on the anime for this video, Sakura vs Togame is one of the best fights in the series, hands down, and it's because this fight was meant to introduce us to the concept of conversing through your fists. To keep it simple, through seeing the determination of a character like Sakura, someone who faced rejection from society and simply carved his own path instead of slowing down, Togame realizes that he's been fighting for the wrong things, and after a two-man war that lasts for more than an entire episode, Togame falls, embracing his psychological defeat and resolving himself to move forward as a better person. This fight alone encompasses the entire point of the Windbreaker narrative, something that we see time and time again through the eyes of the main character Sakura, and by extension his friends Nire and Suo, who are with him every step of the way. Embracing yourself. Windbreaker, in the later parts of the series, basically anything past the anime, is a series that features a wide variety of characters, each with something that sets them apart from the rest of the cast. I didn't go in depth on each of the characters here because I actually want to put out a video this week, but just a few notable names that you can look out for is Tsubakino, a crossdresser who is among the first to truly embrace Sakura for his kindness, Endo, a strong fighter who just wants the approval of someone he loves, and Umemiya himself, who struggles to forgive himself for the death of his parents, something he feels he caused. All of these characters had points where they felt unlovable, as if they were undeserving of care, but through the narrative of Windbreaker, we see these characters grow stronger by embracing themselves and learning to be happy in their own skin. Sakura is an interesting protagonist in the sense that it's not really his story, but multiple stories of the people surrounding him. He never fights the main villain in any given arc, but instead contributes in his own way, which is primarily because he's simply not there yet. He's not ready to fight the bigger threats because he's still learning about himself and how he can fight and care for the people around him. The format of a shonen narrative makes it hard to see this at first, but Sakura is soaking up more and more information as the series goes on, learning from his seniors and becoming a stronger person as a result. And though time will only tell, I can only hope season 2 of Windbreaker is even better than the first, and can perhaps make a name for itself in this insane generation, not just of anime, but of creative media in general. And I hope that through all of my rambling, you managed to learn something yourself from watching this video. Windbreaker is an amazing story with an interesting world and characters, but before anything, it's a simple story conveying complex ideas and themes by cutting the bullshit and showing things as they are. There is no hesitation, no fear of judgment. As a writer, just as the characters in Windbreaker do themselves, you must embrace yourself, embrace your writing, and take that ability to push yourself to the next level. My name is John Sage, and thanks for watching. Hey guys, it's Editing Room John once more, thanking you once again for watching this video all the way to the end and sticking around after the end to listen to me talk at you for a little bit. For those of you that are new, I do have a Discord. It will be linked in the description if I remember to link it, and if I don't, just remind me and I will happily rectify that issue. But yeah. This video took a lot of effort and work to make. It's probably the hardest I've worked on a video in a while. And it's primarily because of the new direction I'm trying to take my content. This video is obviously something a little different, but I hope that it can at the very least be indicative of the kind of content you can expect from me going forward. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And yeah, have an amazing rest of your day.